Male Mego, y'all. I'm New Pharaoh and welcome to New News with New Atu. The topic at hand today is sometimes feelings lie. Not all feelings are real. And what I mean is not to invalidate your feelings because every feeling is valid. Like, I believe everyone is feeling what they're feeling. To the most part, like from what you can understand, some people are so closed off to their heart space and their emotional space that they really can't interpret what their feelings are. And sometimes I will say myself, I get into that because I'm so into the balanced side of things, so into the stoic side of things where it's like job's not finished, you know what I mean? And so sometimes whenever it comes time for me to unpack things, there are times where I feel as though there are things that I maybe should be feeling or maybe things that I am not feeling that I would like to feel, you know? So not to like pass judgment on anybody and be like, some of y'all motherfuckers are so closed off. But to say, sometimes you feel like anxiety about something, right? And sometimes you feel about your anxiety that it's a bad thing and that causes more anxiety. You get anxious about your anxiety. But really, sometimes that anxiety was telling you like, hey, look out, right? It's something that we evolved to have to be like, hey, this is a situation that requires your attention because something might not be, we might not be prepared for something. It might not even be like, oh, this situation's unsafe. It might be like, oh, we have not prepped for this. You know what I mean? So make sure that you're on 10. And then you start getting anxiety about that anxiety because you're like, I shouldn't have anxiety about this thing. I shouldn't have anxiety about going onto stage to sing. It's like, well, you know, the way that I work around it is like, I'm going to have that feeling, but I consider it latent excitement because I know that it's going to turn into, and what it really is excitement to get out there and do what I do and that I care about my craft and that I want to do the best that I can do, you know? And so if I spent a lot of time being like, I'm getting stage fright, essentially, and I'm pissed that I'm getting stage fright, then I'm just going to double down and start burying that emotion down, boom, 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 boom. And that's what I mean by like, sometimes your emotions lie to you. You know what I mean? Sometimes your emotions aren't true. Whenever you're disconnected from your heart space, your mind and your heart are not in coherence, right? Then a lot of the times we'll feel things that don't actually apply to the situation. Like, honestly, it's on the brain because I just watched this crazy video about some cheating and shit, which, you know, I try to stay away from, but also dip my toe back into some stuff like that just to show myself that like, hey, it's okay. Like, this is actually not going to affect you in the way that you think that it will, you know what I mean? So I encourage people to do that too with things that you have thought to be like negative for yourself in some sort of way. Obviously, use your discernment. There are things that you probably should never embark on or not. Hey, I ain't your boss. You know what I mean? You fucking, hey, fuck around and find out all you want, buddy. But whenever I got to that video, it's like people sometimes, whenever they get cheated on, let's say, might be feeling frustrated and then they feel frustrated that they're frustrated. Let's say this is like, you know, they're removed from the situation. They realize that it was better for their partner to leave them because that gives them room for a better opportunity, right? Well, when you start being like, well, I shouldn't be frustrated because really this cleared up space for me. It's like, well, are you frustrated about that? Or are you frustrated about the betrayal or whatever it is? You see what I mean? So that's what I mean too when I say like feelings lie. Like there are times when like you might be like, ooh, I really enjoy gambling. You know what I mean? And it's like, but you're coming in like negative every time. It's like, bro, I don't know why I fucking like this. And it's like, do you like that? Or dopamine, the way it works is the anticipation of a reward. Are you so hooked on the idea that you might win something? You see what I mean? Like, do you really like gambling like that? Or do you just like the idea of success? And that you could have success? And where can we like start to kind of steer that in a different direction? You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when people are like, or when I'm like, I think it's easiest to like frame this from my point of view to share so it doesn't feel like I'm putting any of this on y'all. And just to make it clear, there'll be times where like, I'm feeling frustrated at people. Okay, this is a great one, honestly, where I feel frustrated at people who consider the dogmas of the system and various religions, which I consider to be a extension of the system, the machine, when they are perpetuating those dogmas in a way that is hateful, distasteful, oppressive, or just generally lacks like any sort of intellectual integrity, as well as like investing in deconstructing these ideas to see which ones you actually align with. And it comes across in a way that can be burdensome to the collective, to our communities. But am I really upset at those people? Sometimes yeah, I am. But really, what I'm really upset at is the system that chose to take advantage of these people and use them as weapons and pawns instead of doing the dirty work themselves, just like they'll send our young people overseas to die and to kill, right? Instead of going and doing it themselves. Like they'll, you know what I mean? So it's the same, where it's like, I'm not really at my heart of hearts where my frustration is not with these people who are perpetuating this dogma and narrative. It's really with the people who brainwashed them and who took advantage of their willingness to listen, right? Because then they took, and this is another layer of frustration, it's like the dogma closes people off to ever listening to other points of view. And that's inherently problematic. But what it did was the dogma got them at a point when they were willing to listen and told them that they shouldn't. Told them that they don't have to listen and that they actually shouldn't listen, and it's problematic to listen to other points of view because this is the one thing. This is the only way. And put them in a state of damnation, which I consider to be damn being stuck, nation being a state of being, right? Nation state. Damnation. They're in a state of being stuck because they're not willing to listen to anything else, because the dogma got them at a point when they were willing to listen and they believed in it. You see what I mean? You see how like sinister and fucked up that is? And then whenever I hear people parroting that kind of narrative, it frustrates me. But am I really frustrated at the parrot, or am I frustrated at whoever told the fucking parrot to say that shit? You know what I mean? It would be the same as being mad at a parrot in a cage for cussing you out when the parrot has only been taught what the parrot's been taught. You see what I mean? So it's like, I'm gonna be like pissed, you know what I mean? Maybe in a funny way, but obviously not in like a serious way, you know? So that's what I mean by your feelings, all these things are what I mean by your emotions. Sometimes they lie to you. Sometimes they're not honest. And it doesn't mean that like you're not feeling that. Like, it's not like when somebody tells me like, oh, I'm feeling really scared about this, or like, oh, you know, I feel so down about this, or oh, I feel really good about this, then I'm gonna turn around and be like, no, you don't. You know what I mean? But sometimes we do have to examine the situation and the emotion and understand that our emotion is valid. And then the last key component I would say is when it's like, I don't know why I feel this way about this, but I do. And it's like, well, using our brain-heart coherence, we can examine the emotion and say, you know, I've thought about it a lot. I know reasonably I shouldn't feel this way about this thing, but I do. And it's like, oh, this is a banger, okay? And I know I'm gonna lose some people here, but if you stuck with me this long, then hopefully you're willing to hear this. These predators and pedophiles, bro, specifically the ones in like major positions of power, are not really attracted to kids. I'm gonna say it, bro. They are not attracted to kids. What they're attracted to is being in a position of power and abusing authority, because it makes them feel powerful to exert force on people and things and whatever that can do nothing about it, that cannot push back on them. Because think about it, what makes you feel more strong if you were to get in a fight and punched somebody and it was a one-punch knockout, or if you went back and forth and you're getting to beat the shit out of, you know what I mean? It's like, some people I know they have that resilience, like the dog in me would be like, yeah, because I had to fight my ass off for that fight, you know what I mean? So that makes me feel strong. But realistically, if I went out there and I just boom, cleaned that mother, I would be feeling untouchable, right? That's a whole different level. And so that's what these people really operate on. It's not that they're feeling an attraction towards these kids or to these women. It is that they are feeling the attraction to the power that it gives them or makes them feel to exert themselves in a position over these people where they can do nothing about it. Crazy. Crazy, I know. It's fucking wild. But it just shows you how like depraved motherfuckers are. So, to tie it all in, yeah, sometimes you gotta examine your emotions and be like, when it's something where it's like, I know I really shouldn't be feeling this way, which honestly crazy example, but I feel like it's so topical to today. So forgive me, but also listen to me. You know what I mean? Whenever you're feeling something, you're like, I know I shouldn't be feeling this way. It's like, well, are you truly feeling that way about the thing that you think you're feeling it about? Or is it about another aspect that just ties into that thing? You see what I mean? Anyways, I hope this helped. Try to keep it short, still over 10 minutes. So hopefully you got to test your attention spans. Remember, if nobody's told you today, or if anyone has, or if everyone has, just know, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I trust you to keep being your best self. And as always, God bless, Wall love, y'all got, be new. Actually, I want to try another one out today. We bless, we love, we guide, and we're new. Or whatever we'd like to be. And I will see you guys all on the next video. Thank you so much for tuning in.